I'm also grateful to be invited by Rahul Karad and MIT WPU to come and speak and engage with all of you on what technology can do from an economic welfare perspective. I have zero legislative experience, so I'm going to learn from all of you on how to do that. But what I'm hoping to share or foster a dialogue among us is where is India today in the technological revolution? What have been some of the drivers, and where are the opportunities for India as we look forward? Uh, Personally, I graduated from MIT WPU Pune in 1997 with a computer science and engineering, and I moved to the US then to get my PhD, and then became a professor, and I've started companies in the US, and I have observed a distinct change in the last 2 decades, especially on the technology side, the services side, on how the economy has opened up in India. And today, technology, if you think about the last decade or 2 decades, last 10 to 20 years, has been a connective tissue. If we, from an economic well-being perspective, from a social well-being perspective, from the prosperities that we have seen in the and now it's the booming of the services sector in India, in my opinion. The services sector is about 55% of our GDP in India is from the services sector. And the services sector is driven in many ways. We had the outsourcing revolution in India. We had the technology support and services in India. But what's really exciting now is we are seeing a shift where India was an epicenter of, we'll build a call center initially. We'll outsource technology development. We'll outsource support desk, help desk to India. But now India is rising to becoming the developer of these technologies, is becoming the innovator. And that has been a remarkable journey. And if you think about in under 20 years, so what the capacity of our citizens, the capacity of our infrastructure to take on these challenges and sustain is quite remarkable. However, and as we think about it, as well as we'll come to this point later that I'd love to get your thoughts and ideas about the agriculture sector, which historically was a strength of Indian economy, right? If you think about since independence and before independence, agriculture has been a mainstay, but that's now about 20% or less. Manufacturing sector is about 15 to 20%. So if services sector is making about 55%, the rest of the 45 is split between health and hospitality and manufacturing and agriculture. So the question for us here as well is, how do we leverage technology to expand and support the agricultural sector? And that would lead to a much larger economic welfare. How do we leverage technology to create a future of manufacturing, a future of industry in India, such that there's automations, such that there is mass production, such that the companies all over the world want to come to India to establish their manufacturing, the semiconductors and infrastructures in India, because we have the legislative, the political, the intellectual, the social support system in India to sustain those investments. And that's something I believe will be very compelling for us to think about. And as we imagine, even in the last 2 decades, at least, in the 1990s, as I said, I finished my undergraduate in 97. That's technology. We're getting our pictures taken, right? That there's drones. I had asked for the drone to come by for a technology example. But the idea here is that if you think about the 1997 to now, again, that's my mindset because I left in 97. We have seen the telecom sector as booming. And recently, and the government has taken on some of these initiatives to truly combine. Like, as I think about the Jan Dhan Aadhaar Mobile, which is a trinity, on how Jan Dhan Aadhaar and Mobile have put together to actually enable direct deposit systems, debit systems, access to banking. It's been a gift of access to so many people all over the country, which would not have had that access otherwise. Access to banking, access to identity, right? Where there's an access to knowing who the person is, whether it's through the Aadhaar card or through payment systems. And I think there's something which is very compelling, at least some of the statistics I was looking at. Today, there are about 36 crore transactions on a daily basis using mobile pay system. 36 crore on a daily basis. That's a lot of transactions happening on a daily basis. That means our mobile telecom infrastructure is able to handle it and can handle even more. Now, if you go out, you don't need any cash with you, right? You just go with your phone and you make all the payments. You can receive payments, make payments. You can file taxes now electronically from your everything. You have the Pay ID or whatever it is called here. Even in the US is catching up to that technology where India has now truly embraced in terms of the mobile commerce, etc. Um, and then also we have and I believe there's this Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, which is also for financial inclusion of the unbanked to ensure access to financial services, including banking, etc. And we have seen in the recent past that the idea of digital India has become a movement, and it's a powerful movement which is leading to platforms, open government data, national digital health mission, direct benefit transfer, mobile commerce, and etc. So the question for all of this is, as we are seeing this rapid race and embrace of technology, and now something else that's happened. India hosted Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI recently. He talked about artificial intelligence, Chat GPT, and all that, which is the latest greatest buzzword. What is India's artificial intelligence strategy? I think as legislators, we should think about collectively what's the policy frameworks to inform India's AI strategy to keep India ahead. There's enough intellectual mental power in India to make advances, where India can be the creator, the developer of these technologies. What does that mean? Uh, what does technology mean to support our agriculture sector when a vast majority of India is still living in rural India? What is this technology doing to create a reach to this to the rural population, which such that it just doesn't become a mainstay of the urban population? How does technology enable more inclusion, more diversity and equity among all of India? How does technology support the next wave of manufacturing? Do the state governments want to raise their hand and go, we will put money on creating this latest state of the art manufacturing facilities? So global companies should come to India, and or the local companies in India should become the leaders in semiconductors, chips, or other advanced manufacturing automation. We are seeing electric vehicles, electric cars. Do we have the infrastructure to support it? Do we have the infrastructure for solar power in India? So all of these can happen through technology and AI in many different ways. And I guess that's what I'd like to share those thoughts and sort of open up our discussion wherein we celebrate, first of all, where we have come in 25 years in terms of technology, because that's my mental model of 97. When I left, mobile access wasn't there. When we had to play with the friends, we used to shout from the street and to the other street and, hey, niche aa raha hai kya, khelne chalte hain. We never used to SMS each other, right? So, and now, lo and behold, our lives are governed by technologies and mobile framework. There's been a lot of progress made. There's been a lot of progress, not just where progress is being made to a select few, through all the Yojana programs, the Aadhaar card, the linking of all these things, the inclusion of banking access to so many individuals who never had access to banking. There's something going on here. There's a movement in India. So I'd like to applaud all the legislative priorities and policy making that has happened by all of you and your peers and the folks who are before you to make those changes happen. So, congratulations to all of you for spearheading and leading this change in India. And then the question to all of you is, how do we keep growing and make it forward? And I guess the questions that were shared earlier that we should be talking about. First question was, just to remind everyone, how can states formulate a technology-driven economic agenda? Second question was, what reforms may be necessary to encourage state investments in the technology sector? What can state legislation do to create incentives to say that in my state, let's say that there is agriculture, so technology for agriculture should be my identity. In my state, it could be defense. Technology for defense could be my identity. My state could be manufacturing. Technology for manufacturing could be my identity, or technology for services. So, what is it that the priorities that we think about? And then cybersecurity, artificial intelligence. So, we can come to those two, the other questions later. I would sort of lead with asking all of you to have a discussion on how can states formulate a technology-driven economic agenda, and what reforms may be necessary to encourage your investments in the technology sector. And I invite you all to share your thoughts and ideas. Thank you.